Okay. All right. Yeah. Let me get back to you. All right. Cool. We're about to get this party started, man. We just had to warm up. We had a really good conversation just now. That was good. I don't know if anybody else is encouraged, but I am. But I want to introduce to you guys somebody who has really made an impact on my life and is really teaching me the game, the wholesale real estate game. I did not know it was possible to make 5 figures and sometimes 6 figures in a real estate deal where you don't have to get your real estate license or put up any money. I made $2,000, last year in one transaction, and I didn't use any of my own money. I knew a guy who knew a guy. It was crazy. It was just a whole little. I'll let Tom explain it to you, but it's really. I feel like because the numbers are so high, it should be somewhat illegal. And I had to really, I got to talk to the people in my church to make sure this is real. Because I feel like it's just too much. You feel me? It's just a lick. I feel like it's stealing. But Tommy Holt Jr. is just a professional's professional. Really understands the game, and he's one of those people that's not only a good practitioner, but he's a good teacher. There are a lot of people that are really good at what they do. They can't tell anybody about it because they talk so high level and they just talk over your head. So without further ado, Tommy Holt Jr., man, let's get this party started, man.
Man, I'm excited, man. I'm excited, bro. I've been waiting for this, man. I appreciate you guys coming out. I appreciate you, Dave, sending that over, man, and give me that warm welcome. But this is gonna be the start of a process of changing the way some of you guys view real estate and how you get into real estate, okay? This is gonna be the start of a process that's honestly could possibly change your life. I know it changed my life as well. So I wanna make sure I got, yes, I do. I got control back. So we're gonna rock out right now. We're gonna hit this right here. Boom, perfect. All right, so everybody, I see a couple of people. Dave, I see you. Can you give me a thumbs up? You can see my screen? Perfect. All right, so guys, welcome, man. Once again, this is the E2E Wholesaling Edition. This is the culmination of a lot of work of people, of me asking people questions after questions, and then having them ask me question after question about, hold on, we got somebody's mic that's going a little crazy there. We'll try to figure this out. We got, this is just the culmination of people asking a lot of questions and me responding to them and then saying, you know what, let me put this together so we can give a comprehensive look at what this process is, what wholesaling is, what getting into a real estate deal with none of your money really looks like. And so this is what we kind of came up with. This is called the E2E Wholesaling Edition, and the E2E is employee to entrepreneurs. So we're building people from the ground up to be entrepreneurs, okay? And really, wholesaling is really this right here. It's the art of finding the deal. Let me say this again to you guys. It's the art of finding the deal. So a lot of people can't understand this. You're going to make all the money on the purchase of the property, the purchase. All the money is made in the beginning, all right? And we're going to show you as a wholesaler why that's so important that you learn how to find the deal at the bottom price, all right? So let's get right into this. I know a lot of times you get on webinars and they give you all this stuff, right? And all this stuff. And you're like, let's go. When am I going to learn something? So I wanted to give you guys right up off the top, what we're going to be going over. All right. So right off the bat, what we're going to learn is what in the world is wholesaling? What is this thing called wholesaling? Does this really happen? How I got into this business? Why is this opportunity the best for you? Why is it good right now, no matter what the market is? How does it all work? What's the nuts and bolts? How can you get out there and find these deals? Why wholesaling will never, ever, I promise you, it will never, ever go away. Can you do it? One way to find off-market deals, then we're going to go right into the ARV. What is that? That's super, super important. Listen, the ARV, you can either write this down right now. Everything comes off of this ARV. We're going to talk about exactly what that ARV is, but I'm going to drill that into you guys over and over and over again. Everything starts with the ARV. Is it a deal? The contract, one way to find buyers, real buyers. My favorite part, I'm quite sure it's going to be your favorite part, getting paid, right? And what do you do with the money? And then we're going to talk about how we can help you do this. So right now, all the pressure's off. So everybody just relax, take a deep breath, woo-saw, like rub your ears, right? Chill out, because all the pressure is off because I just gave you everything that we're going to talk about tonight, okay? So let's get into this thing, man. I'm ready to go. So what in the world is wholesaling? What is wholesaling? What is wholesaling? Wholesaling is the art and skill of finding off-market real estate that is at a deep enough discount that an investor can add value to them in order to make a profit. Because investors want to make a profit. You want to make a profit. Everybody wants to make a profit, especially when they're putting up their own time, energy, and money. So one of the key things in here is add value. We call these add value properties. As you can see here, this house looks pretty ugly. This is a house in Macon. Believe it or not, this house, it's called a shotgun house or a row house, as some people call them. The shotgun house, basically, if you stand in front of it, you can shoot a shotgun and it goes straight to the back. There's this house and there's one right next to it. I got both of these houses for a total of $4,000. $2,000 for the one, the gray one, and there's a white one that's to the right, $2,000, okay? These are add value properties because I bought them low enough, I bought the house low enough that I could sell it to someone else and they could put invest some money into it and add value to it greater than what they purchased the house and renovated the house for. Add value properties. Make sure you understand that, because you cannot wholesale properties that you cannot add value to. There is no room for profit. So understanding what add value properties are is super important, okay? All right, does this really happen? Does this really happen? Okay, so the National Association of Realtors, and I'm a realtor. You don't have to be a realtor to do this. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I want to dispel that belief right now. You do not need to go to real estate school, spend all that money and time and energy going to real estate school to do this, all right? Wholesaling does not require any license, okay? But I want to show you this. Because this is, numbers don't lie, right? And when you understand the numbers, you understand what this opportunity is, it's mind blowing, man, because it opens your eyes up to so many different possibilities. Hear what I'm saying. Look at this. This is what I'm saying. All right. It says here, the share of primary home buyers rose in 2016. This is 2016 now, to 70% of all homes sold on the market from 65% on 2015. So what they're saying here is 70% of the people bought these houses for their own personal use. They were living in these houses. These are not people who are investing, 70% of them. That means 30% of the houses that were sold in 2016 were bought for either vacation rentals or investment properties. This is big, all right? It says down here in the bottom, it says 1.14 million investment properties were purchased. 1.14 million invested properties are purchased. Now that's a huge number of people who are buying investment properties. People ask me all the time, can this really happen? Does this really happen? The answer is yes. 1.14 million. This was 2016. Let me break these numbers down for 2017, okay? In 2017, there were 5.51 million homes sold in 2017. On average, you guys can almost take this to the bank. On average, there's about 3% of every home is wholesaled, okay? So about 3% of the homes that are sold are wholesaled homes, okay? So let's see what this means, okay? So we have 5.51 million homes that sold in 2017, okay? Now, 3% of that, and you can do this math along with me if you want. If you don't trust my math, go ahead and check yourself. 3% of that, or times 0.03, will give you 165,300 homes per year. That is 165,300 homes per year that were wholesaled. Okay, that's opportunity for all of us on this call. 165,000 times we have an opportunity to wholesale properties. Let's see what that looks like though. 165,000 times 300 per year divided by 365 days. Obviously, that's how many days we have in a year. 452.87 wholesaled houses per day. I'm not saying per month. That's not per year. There's 450, almost 400, might as well just say 453 homes that were wholesaled every single day. Every single day. So the answer, does this really happen? You can absolutely say 100%, yes, this happens every day to the tune of almost 453 times all across this country. It is amazing the opportunity that we have. Now, what I want to do is talk a little bit, really brief about who I am and how I got into wholesaling. I'm definitely a family man. As you can see here, we got my that's me obviously in the teal shirt. We got my daughter there with the sunglasses on her head. My niece right there, who's next to her with the striped shirt. We got my other daughter. It was her birthday this day, actually, over there to the right. And we got some guy in the middle. I don't even know who that guy is. He just really wanted to take a picture with me. He was super happy about it. I'm a Army and U.S. Coast Guard veteran. I'm a Miami Police Department SWAT vet. I'm not in the department anymore. But I'm also an author. I'm also a serial entrepreneur. And so I took a lot of this experience between the military, between the mentality of what I needed to do in order to achieve on high levels, and transfer that into business. Here's a couple of little snapshots. Here's the cover of my book there that was actually a bestseller for like 2 days, not a long time, but for like 2 days in law enforcement. A picture of me on the Coast Guard team with the counterterrorism, and then that was me at my gym. That's a picture of my business. I spent a lot of money. I mean, I spent it was over $50,000 to get this gym up and running. I spent a lot of time, or the government spent a lot of time, a lot of money, training me to get to that level. And obviously being on the SWAT team and writing a book, it spent a lot of time. Just my editor alone was over $1,200, and that was just her to do the editing portion and help me along with it. It was probably altogether about $3,000 for me to put out my book. I got into this wholesaling game because of all these different experiences. And I want you guys to understand that your experiences are what's going to help you be better than the next person. Your experiences is really what's going to help you get into wholesaling. Everybody wants to do this. Everybody who hears about it likes the idea of it. But what really makes the man, makes the woman, is going to determine whether or not you succeed or whether or not you fail. Okay? So this is a little bit of snapshot of who I am. But really, I'm really just like you, right? I'm really just like anybody else. I have a family. I have responsibilities. I have dreams. I have aspirations. I have ups. I have downs, right? I have the times where I didn't have anything, a dime to my name, but I knew I wanted something more for my life. I knew I wanted something for my family. I knew that I could do better as a human being, as a father, right? Just as a person in general, being able to give. I was able to help someone out today with $500 who needed $500, right? Just because of this gift of learning how to wholesale, right? And so this process wasn't always simple. This process was not always easy. Here is a sketch. This is a real sketch of the very first house that I got into. Okay, so this was in Macon, Georgia. As you can see, man, I was hyped, man. I was in there. Like I really went all in onto the detail. I went into the room and I actually got a little laser pointer, a little laser measurer, and I went and measured out every single room, and I did my best to make it true, right? And so I got into this flip in Macon, Georgia, and I just knew that I was going to kill it. right? My boy had told me about flipping, and I had heard about it. I had watched it on HGTV, and I just knew that I was going to kill it. There's a picture of me in in the kitchen as it was kind of getting ripped out. And man, we did a good job on the kitchen. It really looked good. But when I decided I was going to do this thing, I went ahead and removed some of the walls. So if you look back here, you can see there's some walls there, right? And I was like, everybody wants this open concept joint, so I'm going to open up the living room. I'm going to make it, breathe better. I'm going to make it flow better, make it look bigger. And I had all these great ideas, but guess what? At the end of the day, man, womp, 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 I lost $10,000 on my first flip. $10,000 I lost on my first flip. And so the game that I got into immediately it literally like just knocked me out. It really almost took everything out of me, right? And I have a friend of mine who has almost about 500 units. And I get a lot of advice from him. I give a lot of advice to people from him. He said, yo, Tommy, you got to get right back into this game, man, or you're going to stay out of it forever. You got to get right back into it or it's a wrap for you, So what I ended up doing is I ended up taking his advice and going back into it. And I was able to go ahead and make a little bit of extra money. I didn't make as much as I wanted to, but I learned a lesson. And probably this is the most important thing. Guys, when we're doing this, once we get into these numbers that's coming up here, you have to let the numbers be the numbers, okay? Don't play with the numbers. Don't fudge the numbers. Don't make them look a little bit better. Be like, oh, I think I can get this for cheaper. Or I think because my house is sitting here on this corner, I should be able to sell it for a little bit more. Do not do that. Let the numbers be the numbers, okay? Do not do this mistake. Because of that mistake, I lost $10,000 on my first flip. So luckily, I took my man's advice and I got back into the game. And my very next one, I made $19,500. And I made $19,500, and we're going to talk about this form called the HUD statement, which is super important for you guys. We're going to talk about it a little bit later here. But on that HUD statement at the bottom, I saw that there was somebody's name there and that they made $7,000. And I said, what's going on with this $7,000? They said, oh, that's the wholesaler's fee. I said, what? Like, that's so, like, I bought the house and I paid somebody else. I thought I was buying it straight from the owner. Like, no, that's the wholesaler's fee. And so that was my introduction to wholesaling. My introduction was shock and awe, really. Because I went to the closing table, and instead of getting I got $19,500, and I could have got $7,000 more. So that's how I got into this thing. That's how I was introduced to it. Then I just went all in on it. I was like, I have to learn this skill. Whether or not I want to flip or whether I want to wholesale, I need to learn how to buy at the lowest point. So that is what really got me started. And that started this journey where I spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money learning how to do this. So why is this the best opportunity for you right now? Why is this the best opportunity for you? Listen, honestly, this right here is it. Because you and your family, you guys deserve better. You deserve more. You already know that you deserve more. You probably are on this thing because you're driving back and forth to work, to a job that you don't like, that you really don't love, and you want more for your life. They're not paying you what you're worth. You know that you're worth more, and they're not paying that for you. So this is basically everything that sums it up is this. Now we can go into detail on like some of these things, right? Everybody likes to see pictures of checks. Everybody likes to, and I don't think it draws in people, but really, it's not really what it's about. Like it's about the time that money purchases for you, right? But here's why this is the best opportunity for most people, right? It's because you can honestly, really, truthfully get into real estate with just some gas money. I'm gonna show you how to do that tonight. With just some gas money, you can get into the real estate game. You can make a high six-figure income, if not a seven-figure income. I have friends of mine that make well into the seven figures off of wholesaling and off of real estate, okay? You can start off with wholesaling, and then you can go ahead and transcend into other fields, or you can just strictly stay with wholesaling and do 6 and even 7 figures. Matter of fact, I 100% know you can do 7 figures easily. easily. It's just about scaling, okay? It's a skill that you can pass down to your family. How many of you guys know that you can't pass down your job to your kids, right? You can't pass down your job down to your cousin or to your nephew or your niece or your whoever. This is a skill that you can teach. You can pass this down, right? It's the foundation for building wealth through real estate. It really, truly is. Everything is made off of the purchase of the home. And if you can control that, then you can make money, all right? Here's a question I always get. Is it legal? Yes, it's 100% legal. 100% legal for you to learn, for you to wholesale. There's nothing wrong with it, because if you were doing some things where you are a real estate agent like I am, I have to disclose a couple of things. But even with that, it's still 100% legal. And here's the bottom line. That check right there, those checks. So those checks totaled over $44,000. And I had gotten another check that same month. When I was a police officer, my starting salary was $48,000. Okay. And by the time taxes hit everything, it was, I don't know, 30 something, 32 maybe. Right. So I pretty much, in that course of that month, I made more in 1 month than I made my entire year. And I was on the SWAT team in the city of Miami, getting shot at, dealing with a whole bunch of stuff, seeing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. I'd much rather deal with this and get paid a yearly salary all in 1 month. And these are things that you can absolutely happen for you. Okay. So how does this all work? Let me go ahead and stop sharing this real quick. Actually, I want to share my whiteboard. All right. So this is where we're about to do this, man. All right. We're getting ready to get into this. So, all right. Everybody can see the whiteboard, right? Everybody can see the whiteboard here. Perfect. Okay. So what is this thing that we're talking about? What is the process of this thing? Some of you might already know. I want to make sure that everybody on this call is taken care of. So if you know this, just bear with me, okay? So you have a house here, all right? And this house has a crack in the roof, and it's ugly. The windows are busted out. Matter of fact, if you guys saw my Instagram live, you'll see that I have a duplex that some people went in and decided to bust the windows out of, and they tried to rip out the copper pipes, but there was no copper pipes in there, but they messed up my walls, made my house really, really ugly, right? So this is an ugly house, okay? Now, what I do is, and what you're going to learn how to do tonight, is you're going to learn how to find these ugly houses, but also find the owners of these ugly houses, okay? These owners, some of them, not all of them, some of them don't want this problem anymore, okay? And they're willing to sell this property for a little bit of money just to get out of this problem. Understand what I'm telling you guys this. You are solving problems, not just doing real estate, okay? You have to understand what this individual's problem is, right? And then you can fix that problem. And so what we're going to do is we're going to approach them after we locate them, and then we're going to put this property under contract, okay? So this contract, we're just going to use this for an example, okay? We're going to say that we're going to offer this individual $30,000, okay? So we're going to offer them $30,000 for this house. This is a problem for this individual, and they're willing to take that. They're happy to take that $30,000 because they don't have to deal with this problem anymore, okay? Now, this is our contract, okay? I'm just going to put a C right here with a circle around it so you can remember our contract, okay? Now, what this basically means, this doesn't mean that I own this property at this point. This means that I control. That's another reason why I put that C. Control. Contracts equal control. Write that down. Contracts equal control. So I control this property for a specific amount of time, and that is dictated in the contract. The contract is going to tell, is going to be agreement between me and the seller that I'm going to buy this house for $30,000, and I have to perform that within a certain time frame. Typically, that time frame is somewhere between 30 to 45 days. So I'm just going to put 30 days. Okay. So I got 30 days to execute this contract. And if you have the contract that I have, if it goes past 30 days, then I don't have to pay this person anything because it's written in there. And not only that, I do everything on the up and up. I explain that to them. Okay, so they know that I have 30 days to get them $30,000, or the contract gets torn up, or we can renegotiate for an additional 10, 15, 20, 30 days, whatever the case may be. Now, because of this, in between time, I am going to go ahead and find a buyer. And we're going to talk about how you find some buyers, one way of finding buyers later on. All right, we're going to get into this, I promise you. But you guys have to understand this, because there's some people here that don't understand exactly the process of wholesaling. And you cannot do wholesaling if you don't understand the full process. So at this point right here, I'm going to find myself a buyer. Okay, this is my buyer here, and my buyer has a problem, just like my seller has a problem. Okay, my buyer has the problem that they have some money, and that money is not really earning them or working efficiently for them, right? So they need to find a more efficient way, a more power-packed way for their money to work for them, okay? So what they wanted, their problem is that they cannot locate a property. I have one now under contract. This buyer here legally cannot bypass me. That's why I put this contract in the middle. They can't go here because when they go, or they can't go straight to the house because I got this contract in the way. This contract is stopping them. So all I'm going to do, oops, let me erase this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to add my fee into this. So I got it for 30. So I'm saying $30,000 is going to go into the seller's pocket, right? But in order for me to make money, all right, in order for them to get around this contract, they're going to have to come through me. And so since they're coming through me, I'm going to go ahead and sell this property for $40,000, okay? So that way they can come through here, they can pay that $40,000 at the closing table. And once the lawyer disperses the money, $30,000, actually, let me do this here. $30,000 is going to come out of this into the seller's pocket. The remaining difference between 40 and 30 is what? $10,000. That $10,000 goes to me. Now ask yourself, because I did this in the time frame, did any money come out of my pocket? No, nothing came out of my pocket. The only thing that I spent money on, possibly was some gas money, the way I'm gonna show you how to do it tonight. Okay, was how to find this. Everything else was a free tool in order for me to find this person, okay? Everything else is a free tool for me to find this person. It's just gas money. That's literally all it is, okay? And because I did that, and because I did my job well, and because I knew the ARV and how to figure this thing out, I made $10,000, all right? So let me go ahead and get up out of here. Let me go here. And, all right. So that's the gist of how this all works, okay? That's the gist of how this all works. So are you guys seeing the chat group up there in the right-hand corner? Is that in the way? You don't see that. I can't see anybody now. I want to make sure on my screen. Sean, can you see that? Is there a chat group in the top right-hand corner? Do you see that, or do you just see the page? Just give me a thumbs up on the, no? All right. All right, so, all right, good. Everybody's just looking at the slideshow, right? All right, perfect. Appreciate it. I see the yeses coming in. All right, perfect. All right, so why wholesaling will never, ever go away? Number one, there will always be people in need. Always. There's always going to be somebody who needs something, who needs some help. Number two, there will always be people who lose their jobs, okay? There will always be people who receive better jobs. I remember a good deal that I had, there was a guy who really didn't have anything bad happen to him. He had a good thing happen to him. The good thing is that he got a promotion, but the promotion made him move to Colorado like immediately. And so he had to find another place. And so he was juggling paying a mortgage here and rent there until he found a mortgage there, or a house there. And so then he was paying 2 mortgages, and he was like, man, I just don't want to do this. He was pretty much wanted to just get rid of the house. And it was a very profitable deal for me. Okay. So that's not always bad news. Sometimes it's good news. There's always going to be people who get divorced. Do you know of anyone right now who's had a divorce? Well, if you had a divorce and you had property, sometimes there's some issues there where, somebody wants half or somebody wants the whole property and someone wants to get rid of the property. You could be the plug. You could be the person who fixes that. Okay. And guess what, guys? No matter where you're at, there is always going to be people who die. These problems, these 5 issues are things that happen in every single state across America. So wholesaling is never, ever going away. There's never going to be a time when someone doesn't have a problem, lose their job, get a better job, get divorced, or die. I promise you, it's all going to happen. Every state. I'll say. So you can do this, right? You can make this happen. If you live in a place where there are people that are having those problems, or losing their jobs, getting divorced and died, then the answer is yes. The answer is absolutely yes. But here's the real question. Here's the real question is, are you going to do this? Are you going to take action with the steps that we're going to talk about here? This is the part that you really need to kind of figure out for yourself, okay? Are you going to be able to do the work and put in the work that's needed to make this happen, okay? All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes here. Let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Let me go, I'm gonna share my screen again here. I think I can do this right straight through here. So, I promised you guys, I'm gonna show you how to do this for free, okay? This is just one way of doing it. You can pay when you start to scale and you wanna get deals coming in faster and faster and different angles and having different deals coming from different angles. But I promise you guys, I'm gonna show you how to do this for free. So one of the first things that we have to do is we have to identify where these properties are going to be at, okay? We gotta find out where we need to look at. So first things first, we're gonna go ahead and go to Zillow. You guys can do this right along with me if you want. If not, you can just watch it and just take notes, okay? So first thing first, when you go to Zillow, which is a free tool, I need you to get your settings right. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to do is get your settings right. So if you guys can see my tab, you guys can see my cursor here? And get a thumbs up, I can see the cursor? Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. So this cursor right here is obviously on the for rent sign. So we're going to click this right here, and we're going to change that. I only want to see, for this technique right here, I only want to see what has been recently sold. So I'm going to click off for rent, and I'm only going to click on recently sold. Now, I mostly do this from my phone, which is awesome because you can do it right from the field, okay? But here on my laptop, on my MacBook, this is what it's going to look like. It might look a little bit different on your PC or your Android, but on Apple, it looks pretty the same, okay? So all I want is recently sold, which is always, no matter what you're on, the yellow dot, okay? Next thing, price, okay? Here's where you have to understand a little bit about your market. Just know a little bit. And you don't have to go to real estate school to understand this. Everybody knows, no matter where you're at in the world, you know what the high-end neighborhood is, you know where the low-end neighborhood is, right? And you know that everywhere in between, okay? A vast majority of the investment properties that I sell and that a lot of people sell are found in the low to middle income neighborhoods, okay? Why? Most of the buyers are first-time home buyers. Those are the houses that get flipped the most often. Think about it. How many people here know people that make money between $20,000 a year to about $70,000 a year? Most people say, yeah, I have a good amount of people that know that, and those people can afford houses in the lower to middle income neighborhoods. How many people know people that make $70,000 to about $150,000. Yeah, you probably know a couple people that know that, right? And they can afford the middle end house until upper middle class house. So the higher we go up, the more expensive the house, the smaller the pool of people is that are going to buy. So investors know this. Investors want to put their money where they have the best chance of it getting sold. Okay, they could buy, and there's investors that like that. There's investors that like $1 million properties, right? And they're prepared to wait and let it sit on the market. It's a completely different ballgame when you're doing $1 million properties. But they also know that they're bringing the pool down of people who are going to end up buying this property smaller and smaller. Does it make sense? Okay. So I like to play the odds. I hope you like to play the odds. I don't really gamble, but to me, it's smart for me to put all my chips into the area where there's going to be more investors buying, right? Because they know that when they fix and flip this thing, there's going to be more homeowners wanting to buy in that neighborhood. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to leave my minimum at 0. And because I know my market, I know that I should be probably at the top end somewhere around $50,000. Okay. All right. Let me zoom out of here because I just put in Atlanta. So I want to zoom all the way out. And you could do this in whatever city that you're in. Okay. So we're already starting to get some good data already. Okay. Bedrooms, we're going to leave this 0+. That means it could be 0 bedrooms or it could be 3 million bedrooms. Okay. Obviously, there's not 3 million bedrooms, but you get the point. 0+. Home type. Now, here's what I like to do. Now, this is also going to be dependent upon your area. Okay. So you're going to have to use a little bit of logic there. All right. If you live in New York City, then you might want to keep condos on, right, or apartments, right? But because I know that most buyers, most of my buyers, they want single family homes or single family residences. So I'm going to get rid of condos. I'm going to get rid of townhomes, manufactured, and land. I only want Zillow to show me houses. That's it. Okay. Once I've gotten that done, I'm going to go to more. I'm going to go from baths. I don't care. I want 0+. I don't care about any of this. I don't care about this. The only thing I want is this right here. Sold in last. All right. Sold in last. All right. So what I want to do is I want to see all the homes. I want Zillow. What I'm asking Zillow to do is to show me all the recently sold homes in the Atlanta area that sold for under $50,000. No matter how many bedrooms they were, as long as they were a single family home, I don't care how many baths they were, and I want to see that data for the last 12 months, okay? Last 12 months, and I'm gonna hit apply, okay? After I hit apply, I can already kind of see where my data is, okay? If everybody's familiar with Atlanta, they know the Buckhead area is a higher end area. So I'm not expecting to see a lot of flips up here. I'm not expecting to see, I'm not expecting to see a lot of flips. I'm not expecting to see a lot of low end purchases here. Okay. So now I'm going to zoom in some more. Hope you guys are taking some notes here. All right. All right. So once I start to get in here, I can get into a closer look of here and I can start to narrow down where these investors are buying at. Guys, understand this. I don't know if you knew this or not, but we're gonna get you through it today. Banks, 99.9% of the banks will not give you a mortgage loan. They will not give you a loan for less than $50,000. All right. If you need to write that down, write it down. So for mortgages, right, you're going to have a house that's worth more than $50,000. Here's the other thing that you have to understand is that how a bank will not loan on a house unless it's appraised at $50,000 or more. So let me put some of these pieces together for you guys. Okay, you can't get the loan unless the house appraises for $50,000 or more. But if the house appraises for $40,000 a loan, you also can't get the loan because the banks don't see the sense and the risk of risking $40,000 and only getting a small amount of return. For them, it's not worth giving you $40,000 for a small return in interest payments every single month. Okay, so what does this mean to you? This means that houses under $50,000, guess what? That means they have to be purchased with alternative methods, which means most people, this is just straight statistics. They say 90% of America doesn't have $1,000 in their savings account. 90% of America, okay? So, and that's scary, right? But that means that these houses that are being sold for less than $50,000 are probably people who either saved up for a really long time or most likely investors, okay? Now, we're gonna slide in here a little bit, oops, wrong way. We'll slide in here a little bit closer so I can find, there we go. We'll find an area like this. So can you guys see this area right here where I'm circling kind of? See this area where we got 8,000, 4,500, 26,000, 7,000. These are house sales. 25,000, 42,000. All right. Let me see. Let's pull this one up here. This house was sold on November 7th, 2018 for $25,000. Okay. $25,000 this house was sold for. Let's see if we can see some more pictures. They got any pictures on the inside? No, they typically don't. All right. So this stuff is happening. Someone bought this house for $25,000. I guarantee you it's probably an investor, okay? So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you, as soon as we get done with this call, I hope you're taking notes on this. I want you to follow these steps that I just showed you, okay? And I want you to look for, and like I said, your neighborhoods are gonna be different, but under $50,000, you're not getting a loan. Okay, 99.9% of the time, a bank is not going to give you a loan. Okay, so if you're seeing that there's house sales for less than $50,000, in the rare case, most people, and knowing that 90% of America doesn't have more than $1,000 in a savings account, you can understand that if they don't have $1,000, they can't pay $25,000 for this house. They can't even pay $4,500 for this house. Okay, so using that logic, you guys can say, okay, well, this is an area that I need to concentrate in, okay? Here's what I know. People, I don't know how to say this, and there's no right or wrong way to say this, but I just need you guys to hear the truth in this. Matter of fact, let me stop sharing this for a second here, because sometimes I like to look at you guys when I say this stuff, all right? So don't take this the wrong way. Just understand where I'm coming from, okay? People tend to gravitate towards people just like them, right? Okay. If you are a businesswoman, right? If you're a businesswoman, just by chance, you're probably going to be hanging around a lot of businesswomen. You're probably going to talk about business stuff, right? If you're an athlete, you're going to talk about athlete stuff, right? If you have a certain lifestyle, you're going to hang around with people with that similar lifestyle, okay? Now, if you're in a position where you're constantly living paycheck to paycheck, you can't afford to really splurge or do anything extravagant, right? You're probably living in an area where there's other people like that, right? I don't know about you guys, but when I grew up and our water was cut off and our lights were cut off, right? When I talked to my other friends, yeah, they experienced the exact same stuff. When my mother got laid off, when she talked to her friends, a lot of her friends got laid off as well. Okay, when we were getting foreclosed on, our house was getting foreclosed on. Some of my friends, their parents were getting foreclosed on too. We tend to gravitate towards each other. Does that make sense? Okay, not all the time, but that's typically what happens. But here's what happens. I know in the case when we were getting ready to get foreclosed on and we were getting ready to get put out in the street, I would have loved if someone would have said, hey, instead of you getting put out on the street and having nothing, $0 to your name, I would have loved that if someone could have said, hey, at least we can buy the house from you and put some money in your parents' pocket so you guys can, find a different place to live, okay? Solving that problem is what we need to do. Focusing on how can we help people. How can we solve their problem, get them out of the situation, okay? So with that in mind, let me go back to my my screen here. If that's the case, right? If that's the case, in this particular neighborhood where houses are being sold for $8,000, $4,500, do you think there might be one or two other houses or one or two other people, given that information we just talked about, that are living in this neighborhood that might have the same problem, right? They just might have the same problem, okay? So this is stuff that we can use. So what I'm gonna have you guys do, is I'm gonna have you, let me move this out of the way. I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and, where's my screen at? All right, so what I'm gonna have you guys do is do something we call D for D, okay? Oops, that is a D, I don't know. Writing on this thing's a little different. D for D, okay? So that's driving for dollars, okay? So that house that I showed you a couple slides ago, right? Where I told you you got one for two and the one right next to it for two, total of $4,000 for both houses, right? That came as a result of D for D, driving for dollars, okay? Driving for dollars. All I did is did exactly what I just showed you how to do, okay? I hopped on Zillow, I found out where these neighborhoods were, I found the clusters, and I drove around that neighborhood. I literally go up and down the street in every abandoned house. Write this down, okay, guys? So this is what I need you guys to look for. Number one, an abandoned house, okay? And we all know what that looks like, okay? The windows are probably busted out. There might be problems with the roof, issues with the property, okay? Number two, if you can, once you find that person, once you find that house, I need you to write down the address. So you're driving. I want you to picture this. You're driving in your car. You write down the address. Once you write down that address, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your county, your website, or I'm sorry, your county's website, and look for that particular person. You'll look for that particular person. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And I'm gonna show you what that looks like. So a lot of people, they wanna know what that looks like. Let me go here. All right. So let's go to, actually, let's not use this one. Let's go to Google first. Okay, so this is literally what you're gonna do, guys. As you can see here, let's just look up this street, this house right here. And all I'm looking for is this address, 431 Holly Street, okay? So all I'm doing is I'm gonna go to Google, I'm gonna go into my county, my county's tax assessor's office. It's gonna pop right up because I go to this site a lot, but my county, Fulton County, tax assessor. Now, for some of you, it might be the city. Sometimes, like I know in Jersey, where I'm from, the city is the person that does this. So I'm clicking on this. I'm gonna go to their website, okay? And I'm gonna go to a property search, right? Everything's pretty self-explanatory. Your county, your state, wherever it's at, might look a little bit different, but I guarantee if you look around the website long enough, you'll find some of the same stuff, okay? I'm gonna look for address search. Sometimes it's called personal property search. This particular one I know is address search. I'm gonna agree to the little terms here. And I'm going to follow the instructions, which are normally here or somewhere underneath there. Like I said, everybody's website's a little differently. I'm just gonna look at this website, 431 Holly Street. So I'm gonna put 431, because that's where this particular site wants the number. And I'm gonna put Holly. And this site doesn't like for you to put street, because if I put street right here, it's gonna come up, it's gonna bounce it back. It's gonna say that they can't find it because I'm not following the instructions, because down here, it says that I do not put this here, right? I have to put it there. So just make sure, some websites want you to put it there, but just make sure that you're doing the right thing. And I'm gonna look for street, ST, all right? And I'm gonna hit search, okay? So, little thing, ETAL, I forgot the Greek word and I probably would mess it up if I tried to say it anyway, but it means like and others, okay? So if you ever see a person's name and you see ETAL, it's the Greek meaning for and other, or Latin meaning for and others. So this means that this particular property is not just owned by Miss Diana Moman. this particular property was owned by her and others. This is a good sign because this is probably meaning that this was sent over in a probate deal, okay? And this is not the person who bought the property in November. Remember this property right here, we said that it was purchased in November, okay? I'm gonna teach you guys something here. It takes a while sometimes for the names to update, and sometimes they never update. And that's a good thing for especially someone who wants to buy and hold. Like I have properties that if you look it up, you won't see my name on it. It still shows the other person's name on it, all right? And people do that for asset protection. But here I'm gonna go ahead and click on this, and it's gonna give me some basic information, right, about the property. Now, sometimes, perfect. This is a great example. Look at this, guys. Look at this, guys. So I just found, I'm driving down the street. I just saw this address. Right? I just drove past this house. Slam on the brakes, write down the address. Okay, let me go research on my county. All right, 431 Holly Street, 431 Holly Street, 431 Holly Street. I research this thing, and then I see, oh, hold on. This is 431 Holly Street, right? But look at this. The person's address is completely different. 3342 Regent Place. That's not 431 Holly Street, right? What does that tell me? That tells me that whoever owns this house does not live at 431 Holly Street. This is where they stay at. The person that's paying the taxes 99% of the time is the person who owns the home, okay? This is what we call an absentee owner. This is very, very good because this is someone who has motivation to possibly sell this property. Obviously, this one is sold. They sold it for cheap too. So this is why this works. But this particular person doesn't live in that property, so they don't need that property for shelter. Make sense? They don't need that property for shelter, so they can afford to sell it. Furthermore, it's probably just from the way it looks like it's probably vacant, right? Which means if it's vacant, it's not income producing. It's not generating any money. It is costing money. My property right now that I have in Macon that people tore up right now is vacant. They can't live in it because they tore the wires and the pipes up, right? So until I fix that, until I invest money in it, it's costing me money because every month I'm paying taxes on it. Every month I'm paying insurance on it. Same thing with this property, all right? There's motivation there. So I'll make sure that you guys understand that is a key factor, is finding someone that's not just wants to sell the property, but finding someone who wants to sell the property at a deep, deep discount. This is just one way of finding the sellers, right? So let me go back to, all right. Cool, everybody still on here? Everybody still on here? We still got people growing? Perfect. All right, let me get somebody in the chat. Am I going too fast? Anybody? Good speed, make sure. Perfect. All right, love it. Just want to make sure I'm not leaving anybody out. So it's kind of hard for me to look at the chat and this. All right, so we're on the, everybody can see my screen. All right, perfect. So what is ARV? Okay, so remember I told you guys, this is super, super important. So the ARV is what we call the after repair value, all right? ARV equals after repair value. Do not confuse this with what most people call comps. Now, you're going to hear me say comps. You're going to hear other investors say comps. But if you're talking about a fix and flip, they're not just talking about regular comps. They're talking about ARV. They really mean ARV. ARV says that after I buy this house and then I spend a whole bunch of money into it to bring it to the top of the line, the envy of the neighborhood, HGTV 2019 Chip and Joanna Gaines style, once I make it look like that, what's the value? All right, once I bring it to the top of the market, what's the value? Okay, comps, I can compare that house that we saw, remember that house we just saw that was tore up that probably no one lived in, right? Sold for $25,000. I could compare that house to all the other ones that sold for $25,000. That doesn't help me with this particular case. It helps you in other tools, but not this particular one. I need to know, once I buy that house for $25,000 and I sink $60,000 into it, how much is it worth then? And is it a good deal? So when you're talking to people, you need to figure out, when you're looking at houses, you need to figure out what the after repair value is. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can do this, but for the sake of time, I want to keep this thing short for you guys. The easiest way for you to do this, easy way for you to find this out, is to get in contact with a real estate agent and propose a plan, a deal with them. Say, listen, I'm doing these properties. If you can help me out, and every once in a while, check out what the ARV is, the comps, the after repair value of houses that are being fixed and flipped. If you can compare that for me, I will pass your information on to the investor, because the investor is going to want to what? Eventually fix the house, flip it, and sell it. And they're going to need a real estate agent. So you can have this symbiotic relationship with them. That way they can get paid as well. Okay? Perfect. So is it a deal? Is it a deal? All right. So here we go. This is where the math is. Guys, write down this formula right here. Write down this formula. Write down this formula. Write down this formula. Okay? This is it. This is how this is how we know whether or not we should waste our time on this property, or should we just go find another one. This is ARV, which we now know is after repair value, times 0.7, or if you want to, you can just subtract 30%, because it means the exact same thing. But if you're doing it on the calculator, you can do whatever your ARV is times 0.7 minus what you think the repair cost is going to be, minus your wholesaling fee, and that equals the MAO, which is the maximum allowable offer. So write this down. ARV times 0.7 minus repair costs minus your wholesaling fee. That's how much money you want to put in your pocket, equals MAO, maximum allowable offer. Okay? So here's an example. ARV, we just found a house, and after we spent about 40 grand into it, it's going to appraise, and we're going to be able to sell this thing for 100, or the end investor is going to be able to sell it for 100. All right. We're going to times that times 0.7. All I'm doing is subtracting 30%, but that's how we do it, right? We're subtracting 30%. What does that 30% represent? We're going to talk about that here shortly. That means that's all in for $70,000. That 30%, that in this particular case, right, $100,000 minus 70 is $30,000 missing there. That represents the investor's profit. So the $70,000 where the arrow is pointing, when an investor looks at this deal, they say, if I could buy this property and then fix it, put it back on the market for $70,000, it's a good deal, because there's $30,000 worth of meat on the bones. Make sense? Okay. So $70,000 now, we got this. That all I did is take that number, that same exact $70,000, was brought it down to a separate line, so don't get confused. That represents the all-in budget, okay? Minus $30,000 in repair cost, okay? We go into the house, we estimate, this is gonna cost us about $30,000 to fix, okay? Minus my fee, because I'm trying to get paid, just like you're trying to get paid, all right? So my fee, $10,000, equals $30,000. What does that $30,000 equal? Maximum allowable offer. This is why the ARV is so important, because you cannot do this math. You can't even start this without knowing what the ARV is, okay? So I know by doing that math, I say, all right, I need to take out repair costs. I want to make $10,000. I know that the maximum I can offer this person is $30,000. So that house that we saw for $25,000, that would be a good buy, because instead of me getting, if that person really took $25,000, that means my wholesaling fee could go up to $15,000. Make sense? Okay. So it's all about the ARV. If you don't know the ARV, you're not going to be able to know whether or not it's a deal. Okay. Now, contract. Contract's important. We have a couple of contracts. There's a couple of contracts to go over. Contracts would be like its own separate thing. Like we'd have to talk about that for a while. But here's what you need to know. You need to have a clause in there that says that allows you to assign the contract. This says contract basically says I, Tommy Holt, or our signee can purchase this property. Okay. I say okay. So it's in there. You have to have that assignability for your contract in order for you to wholesale. Because if you just have the contract, and it's just saying you, that means you cannot assign that contract to someone else. That means you have to buy that house or forego your, if you don't have the right contract, you would be forced to perform on the contract. It's so important to have the right contract. So making sure that you have the right contract with the words and or assignee in it is paramount. You have to have that, okay? Super, super important, because that contract is going to basically control the deal. Okay, now, next thing, one way to find buyers. Guess what, guys? This is the exact same way. Now, what I just showed you was D for D, but we use Zillow to find and narrow down the opportunity, the best places to go drive, right? Now, that was D for D, right? This is D for B with a boy, right? And that B stands for buyers. I probably should just said that, right? One way to find a buyer, go to that exact same neighborhood. You guys ever seen these little dumpsters? They're either green dumpsters or orange or red or whatever, right? You ever see them out in front of those houses? Guess what? People are in those houses renovating them, ripping stuff out and throwing it in the trash. That's what those dumpsters are. So all I do is at the same time that I'm driving in that neighborhood looking for abandoned properties, when I see these, I love these, because all I have to do is pull up to the property, hop out my truck, introduce myself to them and say, listen, I'm looking for the owner or the project manager, preferably the owner, but most of the time the owner's not there, or the project manager. If the project manager and the owner's not there, then I'm looking for the person who's in charge for that time frame, okay? The reason being is this: these people are working there, and as soon as they get done with this house, they need another house to work on, or what? They don't get paid, right? So the benefit, you always want to lead with the benefit. This is just sales and psychology, right? You always want to lead with the benefit for the individual, all right? The benefit for you guys to come here was that it's giving you free information, okay? The benefit for them is that they are going to have another property to work on and feed their family. What you want out of that, for that exchange, is you want a little bit of information. And the information that you want is the name, telephone number, or email address of the person who purchased this flip. They are the buyers in that neighborhood. How perfect is that? That you drove around a neighborhood, you found another abandoned property, and a block over, 2 blocks over, you found a buyer who already knows that neighborhood. They don't have to do the market research. They already know the neighborhood is going for $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, whatever it is. They understand that market already, and you can provide them with this product, which happens to be a home. It makes sense? So this is what we're doing, driving for buyers. I have people on our team that do this. I have people in our group that do this. And we're actually, this month right now, this is the month of the buyer. I challenge everybody in our group to add 10 buyers to their buyers list. My challenge for myself was to add 40 buyers to my buyers list. It's not hard. It's super, super easy. And guess what? It only costs you gas money. And by the way, it's the same gas money that it cost you to find the seller. So it's not even an extra amount. It's the same exact amount. So you're really able to get into this thing without spending any money. All right, driving for buyers. I was supposed to hit those buttons. All right, now getting paid. This is the fun part, right? This is exactly how I feel when I get paid. I walk up from the closing table, I'm saying, who's next? Let me find the next property, okay? Getting paid. Guys, remember we were talking about my wholesaling fee, okay? So my wholesaling fee is really up to me. It's up to me on what I want to make, right? I mean, if let's say I want, in order for me to make $10,000, that exact same example that we had, right? In order for me to make $10,000, I have to get this property under contract for $30,000. Well, guess what? Maybe the buyer, maybe the seller, the person who's selling the home, maybe they can't sell it for that cheap. Maybe they absolutely need 35. Well, guess what? It's up to me to decide, okay, I didn't spend any money really except for some gas money. I'll take $5,000, right? I mean, I don't know how about anybody here? Would you take $5,000 if you didn't have to purchase the home? All you did is connect the seller and the buyer, right? I would. The least I've made on a wholesale deal to be quite honest with you, the least I've made on a wholesale deal was $1,800. I'll take that. I'll take $1,800, right? Just for connecting, just basically saying, hey, you come over here to you. You guys sign this paper? Perfect. Thank you. I'll take $1,800. I'll do that all day. All right. But this is the fun part. This is the part where you get to pull people together. This is the part where you get to help the seller out, get them their money, and you get to get paid as well. All right. So here's a question for you guys. What would you do with that money, right? What would you do with it, okay? Would you pay off student loans, right? Would you pay off those student loans? Would you, instead of having student loans for yourself, maybe you got some kids or you got a niece or you got a nephew, and you provide an educational fund for them, right? So they don't have student loans, okay? Would you kick your feet up, chill out, relax? Would you go on vacation with your significant other, okay? Maybe you're gonna put some money on a down payment on a home. If you learn how to do this, you will never want to buy retail again, because all the money is made where? On the purchase, right? So if you're buying retail, that means you're what? You're spending money on the back end. You're spending more money than what you need to, right? But nevertheless, maybe you want to put a nice little down payment on the house. Maybe you want to buy a nice car, right? Maybe you want to have that BMW i8, right? Maybe you just want to say, you know what, man, I don't need to make a whole bunch of money. I just need to get a little bit of money to get out of debt. That person that you were talking about that only has $1,000, right, to their savings account, man, I just don't want to be that person anymore. Like literally, that was me. Like I had a couple $100s in my savings account. That was it. Okay. But maybe that's you, right? So now we're gonna get into a little bit on how we work, how E2E helps. All right. So what we're doing, I love this picture, right? This is kind of like an abstract picture to put in here, but really, when I look at this picture, it's like this guy's in New York City, in the most crowded place on the planet, right? If anybody knows about New York City, and it really is just his mindset is not like everybody else. Everybody else is going to and from work. They're focused on rights in front of them, and he's like, he or she knows that they belong. They're just from like a different planet, right? I don't know if you guys feel that way as entrepreneurs. A lot of my older friends, not that I don't hang around them, not that I don't love them, not that I don't want to chill with them, but we just don't talk about the same thing. I feel like I'm from a different planet. I feel like I'm from outer space, right? Because I'm having conversations that they're just not having, right? But at the same time, in order for me to get there, in order for me to transcend and pass through that atmosphere, you got to go through the fire, right? You got to go through the fire. And so one of the things that we want to do on E2E is help you get through the fire, right? So let me show you real quick. Going back to sharing this screen here. Let's see. How do I do that there? All right. Let's go. Where's it at? Oh, it's hidden. All right. So what we have here is our website here. Oops. Our website is ran through software called Rizuku. Okay. And what we have here is all of these modules. This thing's always in the way. Every time I move it, it gets in the way. All right. So everybody can see my screen here? Give me a thumbs up. Cool. All right, perfect. All right. So here's where our where we were helping people out here, what we're offering here. Okay. So we have nothing but contracts here. Remember talking about the contracts? There's a couple different contracts that are here. All right, you have your option to purchase real estate contract. We have, your assignment contracts, all these different contracts. Like, so for example, when it's time for you to assign your contract to another wholesaler, okay? Here it is, or another buyer, okay? You just go here and you literally just fill out this information, you print it out, you fill it out, and you have them sign it, which will show you how to do that, and boom, you have a contract that's executable, okay? This contract has been used over and over and over again, okay? We have the modules, okay? So our courses, our coursework, we wanted to make sure that everybody understood exactly how to do this. And the way that it's designed is that it walks you right through the deal. I firmly believe that module 1, without a doubt, is the most important module, without a doubt, okay? I know a lot of people want to skip to how to find the sellers and all those things. We'll talk about that. But this is one of the most important ones. Why? Because without the right mindset, you're never going to achieve. It's just never going to work. You have to have the right mindset. So we have homework for every single one of these. So if you want to find out, if I went too fast for you on is it a deal? And you're like, man, I missed that, right? You click on this here, you open it up, okay? And boom, it's a video module. All right, here we go, module 5. We're getting it. Video module that walks you through how to calculate that deal. All right. Not only that, once it's done, you go to this one and it's going to give you the homework. Okay. So every module has the homework. Here's what you have to understand is that if you watch the module and you do the homework, the next step, the next module is going to add on to that one. And before you know it, when you get towards the end, once you've done all the homework, you're going to look up and you're like, oh, wow, I have people calling me, or I'm calling people. I'm going on appointments. I know my lawyer. You're going to have all that information that you need. Okay. Let's go back here. So we have all these different modules from, is it a deal? How to find sellers, tax liens, how to find owners. There's different ways. We got the negotiations. We got tax lien sellers. We got property managers. So we just talked about driver for dollars, but there's a couple of different ways that you can find sellers, as you can see here, and there's even more here than what we have here. All the way down, we got, what do you do with your money? How do you reinvest your money? Everything is covered for in this. This is going to basically walk you all the way to the closing table, okay? All right? How to market on social media. I mean, everything that you need is right here, okay? Let me see something real quick. All right. So everybody so far, does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions? You want to put it into the chat? Does it matter what type of lawyer you're involved in? Does it matter? It does, depending on who is, it really just depends on your state, on whether or not you have an attorney state, or whether or not you have a title state, okay? So if you have a title state, then you're obviously going to need a title company to do this, and you're also going to need to just really vet those people. If you're an attorney state, you need to actually have an attorney, okay? And so if you have an attorney, it does matter whether or not what type of attorney that you have. Not all attorneys are created equal. Your best bet is to either get with people that are in a group that know what's a good attorney, or go to what we call a REIA, REIA, Real Estate Investment Association, and they will be able to help you out. Do you need an LLC? No, you don't. Great presentation. Thank you. Involved in the deal. Maybe I missed that one. As a realtor, what do you have to disclose to the seller? Very good question. Basically, all I have to do is disclose to them that I am a realtor, but I'm operating underneath. I have my own company, but you don't have to have your own company. You can just say, hey, I'm operating by myself, solo. And I also have it in the contract as well. Let me see. You may have touched on this, but what is the daisy chain? Daisy chain, I haven't really touched on it, but a daisy chain is something that I try to avoid at all costs. A daisy chain is basically when you think of, here's my contract, right? Here's my contract as the wholesaler. And then instead of me directly finding the buyer, right? So my seller's over here, here's my contract, my buyer's here. I find another wholesaler, and they daisy chain our contracts. So it's now seller, contract, contract, buyer. Okay. And sometimes that can go on for seller, contract, 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 contract. They could just keep daisy chaining it on and on and on. All right. So here we go. Here we go. Let's go back to share my screen. All right. All right. So that's what we have here. So I know some of you guys I saw it in the chat there, like, yeah, we just want to know what the offer is, right? Yeah, if you can get to the point, that'd be great. So here's what we're doing here. All right, so we got our killer contracts and scripts, all the scripts that we have there, all the contracts that we have there. If you guys think about it, if you went through a lawyer and got those contracts, you probably have to spend at least $100, $200 just for the lawyer's time, okay? So we got that. That's $37, right? And we have the 25 video course. Now, I was talking with someone today. They joined a group, or they were looking at joining a group that was called Renatus. Renatus is $2,000 on the low end, all right? $2,000 on the low end for that course. And I bought that course, and it didn't teach me anything about wholesaling. All the stuff that we're talking about tonight, they did not even touch on. They told me that wholesaling existed, but they did not tell me how much it cost, how I could do it. And I paid $2,000 for it, okay? Now, 2 times a week, we have something that we do, our coaching calls, all right? I have people that are in a program. I have a private program where we meet up or we talk for 2 hours per week. So 2 hours per week times 4 weeks, that's 8 different sessions. And they pay $1,000. So if you do that math, that's $125 per hour, all right? So that is the total of everything. It all comes down to $1,534. But if we're working with you guys today, and because you guys took your time out to spend this time with us today, because you're deciding to invest in yourself, we're not going to do the $37 for the scripts, okay? We're not going to do the $497 or the $1,000 for the coaching calls, all right? So we want to make sure that we provide enough value into this for you guys. And people always tell me, some of my mentors are always telling me, why do you do this for so cheap? Well, it's because I want more people to do it. I don't see if you're in the Atlanta market, I don't see you as competition. I see you as another person that I can work with, especially if I start to once I start doing stuff outside of the state, I want to make sure that people are proficient in what they're doing. So it's not going to be $1,500. It's not going to be $1,534. What we want to do is do this. We want to provide people financial freedom, right? And this is the big part. Financial freedom is available to those who learn about it and work for it. All right. If you guys don't know who Robert T. Kiyosaki is, he's an author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and this guy has really changed my life as far as the way I look at business and just entrepreneurship. And so for this, what we want to do is we want to offer you guys a special price. We want to make sure that you guys can get in on this and do this immediately and take action immediately. If you've stayed this long, then you want to take action. So for you guys, if you guys do this right now, if you guys are ready to go, we're doing this for $397, okay? $397 for the year, $397, and there's no contract. So here's the thing. I don't want people to get into this and then feel like they're trapped, right? I don't want you to get into it and feel like, oh man, I gotta pay this thing. No, we make this easy because I understand that this is a process that you have to invest in yourself. And if you don't see the value in that, then you know what? It's just, unfortunately, I don't want to keep you trapped in there. I want you to be able to get out, because I'd rather have a good name than you make a little bit of money, right? I want to make sure that you guys get the value of this. So $397, and you are good for the entire year. That means you're getting both of those coaching calls. We do coaching calls on Sunday and Wednesday night. Sunday and Wednesday night coaching calls. Each one of them are at least an hour long, and we talk about different things. Like tonight, we talked about at 7 p.m., right before this call, we talked about how to make money off of Airbnb without ever owning the property and without you being responsible for the property, right? So I was just showing them, giving them a case study on how I made $4,000 off of an Airbnb property that I don't own, nor does the person who paid me $4,000. They don't own, right? I just found the property for them and connected those people together, okay? But there's a process to do that. There's contracts that need to do that. We talk about some of those things on our Sunday call and our Wednesday call. And we just added a Monday call, an entrepreneur call at 8:15 to get your morning started off right, get your week started off right. Because I know for me, I needed to get kicked in the butt every once in a while and make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So for $397 for the entire year, there's no way possible you're going to beat that. Impossible. At the end of the year, if that's something that you just want to continue with, then cool, $397 it is. If it's not, then there's no contract. But you have all of that set up for you for your benefit for $397. It's unbelievable price. You cannot beat that. You will not find another course like this for that price. I promise you, you won't. I spent $2,000 already on my course. Here is another option. So some people want to pay the year up front and just be done with it. Here's what I know. I know that it took me almost 6 months to get my first deal, right? A lot of it is because I didn't know what to do. I had trial and error, but a lot of it is because I didn't have the right team, the right mentors, and I didn't really know how to follow through step after step. I lost some deals because I had nobody to turn to. So I wanted to provide you something at that $397 where you can get coaching throughout the entire year. But some of you guys are a different level, and some of you guys, I understand it, might not be able to do that right now, and that's fine. But we're still going to get you there and get you paid. You're going to receive everything else that we talked about for just $47 a month. Now, guys, at $47, no, let me not do this. I need to make sure that you guys understand what I'm showing you here. Let me stop this share. So for $47, guys, $47 a month, all right, with no contract. Listen, if there's something out there that can get you $10,000 over the course of a month, I think $47 would be worth it. Even if there was something that could earn you an extra, what did I say? The least I ever made was $1,800. $1,800. All right. If you could make $1,800 over the next 6 months, would it be worth $47 a month? Guys, there is nowhere that you're going. There's no possible way you're going to find a real estate course that is going to teach you how to do this for less than that. It's impossible. So what I want to do is I want to get you guys, I know some of you guys are ready to go. I want you guys to go ahead and be able to take advantage of this. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat here and go ahead and get you guys, get who wants to join and signed up, get them rocking and rolling and making sure that we can answer some questions. Dave, you got anything for us real quick?
Oh, absolutely, man. And anybody that knows me knows I am an entrepreneur to the core. And I started out selling T-shirts, but you know how many T-shirts you have to sell to make $10,000? You got to sell a lot of T-shirts. So I understand that the number one way to build wealth is through real estate. So I always knew I would get into real estate in some capacity. So literally a few months after meeting Tommy, I got into my first investment property, and I'm learning through this process. It's not easy. It's not a slam dunk, but I'm still going to make a good amount of money, even though I'm having issues in the particular flip, but I get to learn through the process for the next one. So it's been extremely valuable, especially just to be able to have a conversation like anything you're dealing with. Tommy's on the line twice a week. Twice a week, yeah. Where even if he's not talking about the subject that you're on, you can say, okay, well, I'm dealing with this particular issue. How can I, what's your suggestion? So I feel like just that type of relationship is invaluable. So, and on Mondays, you guys get to be on a call with me every Monday morning. We set our goals tomorrow morning. You guys will experience it. We literally have like 50 people, 60 people on the call every single morning. But me and Tommy have a partnership where, I feel like understanding real estate is one thing, but we're going to help with the mindset of an entrepreneur, period. So kind of get two different perspectives. So, yeah, man, absolutely amazing. So I feel honored to be one in the program. I'm on the call every single Sunday and Wednesday, but also having that type of access. So I'm honored to be able to partner with you.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate it, man. So I want to go through. I know I missed a couple of questions. What if we have a going question with the course? So I'm assuming you're saying if we have a question going on with the course. Yeah. So you have the question with the course. You hop into one of our group chats. We have a private Facebook group, which I forgot to mention, a private Facebook group that you can get added to. Or if you want to have a live answer on Sunday and Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we actually hop on a Zoom, just like everybody's on a Zoom right now. And we go through the topic, and towards the end, we have a question and answer. How do I skip trace an LLC? Skip tracing an LLC, what you can do is you can go to the SOS, the State Secretary of State. Okay, every state has that. And you can look up that LLC, do an LLC search or company search. And you'll find, probably won't find the phone number, but you can find the registered agent and their address. And you can either write a mail to them, or you can skip trace that person if they have an actual name. Who pays the closing costs? Sheila said, if you structure it right, the buyer will pay the closing costs. Especially if you get a good deal, trust me, you will not have a hard time having the buyer pay closing costs. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, how long does this offer last? Yeah, so this is for the next 24 hours. This offer right here, next 24 hours for this offer right here. And that's for either the $397 or the $47. Listen, guys, $47. I know you guys can put that on a card. Like, that's nothing, right? Especially we're talking about over the course of a month. I mean, we're talking about like less than $3 a day, less than $2 a day. So how do we enroll? I just put the link in there. I'll throw it in there again. You purchase the contract at a later time. Can you purchase the contract at a later time if you're on the 47? No. That's a good question, Sandra from St. Louis. So all those contracts come together. They come together with the program. So all that comes like, there's no piecemealing it, right? You get everything that I just showed you there in that course. So you're going to get the contracts with the 47, all right? What are double closings? Double closings, they're basically when you actually have to close on the property with your own money. So in that particular case that I showed you, if I bought that house for if I got that house under contract for $30,000, I would have to get the house for $30,000 and then add, and then actually purchase it. $30,000 would actually come out of my pocket. Thank you. I didn't see the name of the person who just signed up. Appreciate that. See you in the course, man. So I would actually purchase that property and then within the next half hour, sell it to someone else. Or if you can't do that, then you're using transactional funding. Okay. Transactional funding, which then you're paying more money on, but that's a little more complicated. All right. Got someone else that joined. Appreciate it. Thank you, Nicole. See you in the course. All right. Let me see. Cool. Anybody else got questions about the program? Someone said, how do we enroll? Just go ahead and click on that link there. The top one is for if you're ready to go and you say, you know what, I really need this help for the entire year. I'm ready to rock with this, man. This is not just a game for me. This is something that I'm trying to pass down to my kids. This is something that I'm trying to leave a legacy with. Then, man, go for the $397. It's going to save you. I forgot the amount, like $400 or so. All right. So go ahead and just invest in it. I mean, $397. I promise you, it's going to be well worth it. We have people that are making, $6,000, $12,000, $8,000, $10,000 off of this course, and you could fumble around. I'm not even gonna lie. You could fumble around and go to YouTube University. That's what I tried to do in the beginning, and you could fumble around and figure some things out. But why waste all your time and energy when you could just go right into it, get into the course, and get the knowledge right then and there. All right, let's see. All right, so what we're gonna do here, everybody that's on this call, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna send out an email, making sure that everybody had the opportunity to at least get the links. So we're getting ready to hop off over here because I know we've been on this for a long time. I appreciate you guys hanging with me. It's what we still have a large amount of people, 58 people still on here. So amazing that you guys stuck this long. But we're gonna go ahead and let you guys go ahead. I want you to be able to digest this. Listen, bet on yourself, right? Invest in yourself. We invest in so many different things that give us no return, right? For $47 or $397, this is a no-brainer. This is something that's going to earn you money. This is something that's going to be able to help you pay your bills, help you get out of debt, help you go on that vacation, help you pay for your kids' college. Invest in yourself and learn a skill that can help you accomplish those goals, okay? So without all that, man, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm appreciative of all you guys coming out here. We're going to send out an email again, and we're going to wrap this thing up. Dave, you got any last parting words, brother?
Nah, I just can't wait to see people tomorrow morning, man. I got some fire for y'all.
Yeah, man.
Get it. Let's get it. And you'll email everybody the link to the call tomorrow morning, right?
Yep. Everybody I haven't sent it out yet, but I got the link.
Well, everybody that's in the course.
Everybody that's in the course is going to get it. I wanted to wait till after this so everybody knew that joins. We just had somebody else, Jeremy. Jeremy, appreciate you. See you in the course, my man. So, and Jeremy just signed up. So Jeremy's going to be getting that email as well. So in the morning, he'll be on there as well. So, all right, we're wrapping this thing up. Y'all have a blessed one, man. As always, y'all be safe. Love you guys so much. Thanks for coming out.